How you doing, guys? Today is a good day and a not so good day. The good day is figured out what was wrong with the 1056, and it's kind of interesting. After screwing around with it for what, I don't know, a year plus, I think I narrowed down the issue: the farting, the popping, and the flooding. It ended up being the ignition switch. So how did I narrow it down to the ignition switch? Or I believe it's the ignition switch. If you have watched my videos in the just recently, you know that I was building this tractor, or hoping to debut this tractor at my buddy's meet and greet. That didn't happen. Why? Because the engine was flooding. That flooding issue was my fault. Some of the Permatex aviation sealer that I had put on the fittings for the fuel system had broken away and was pushed by the electric fuel pump into the carburetor, and actually into the float, and gummed up the float needle. So the float was basically not even working. It was just pouring fuel in the motor. That was my fault. So to rectify that, I took the entire fuel system apart, bought all new fittings, even put a new gas tank in it, because the other gas tank had little flakes of rust. I noticed it was in the filter and stuff. So I said, you know what, this tank is out of here. So that's what I did. I put a new tank, put all new fittings, and then you saw, if you watched my video, I built a new carburetor for my Magnum 14. I even put the new bushing in the top and everything. I said to myself, awesome, let's go and start this thing up. And lo and behold, whoa, I still had problems. It was farting, popping. It was basically running like it was mistimed, like the timing somehow went off. And there's no way to really for the timing to go off. It's pretty stagnant. There's no adjustment on a Magnum motor. It's not like a K series where you can kind of screw around with the points gap and stuff like that. But that's not the case on a Magnum. The Magnum, as I've shown in the replacement of the ignition coil, you know, you just set the air gap and tighten everything down and off you go. So after that situation, real quick, I said, well, maybe the ignition coil got messed up. So I put a new ignition coil in it, or magneto, if you want to call it that. You saw that in the last video. I'm feeling very confident. I roll it outside and god damn it, same exact problem. Farting, popping, you know, barking fire out the exhaust. I'm just like totally at a loss. I don't know what the heck is going on. And then the tractor started doing something crazy. The starter wouldn't disengage. So in other words, I would go to the start position, release the key, but the starter stayed engaged. And in one time, it stayed engaged for a few seconds, like the engine's running, the starter's screaming, and then it would disengage, and then that was fine. But the engine was still running bad. So then I was like, oh my god, what the hell? So I messed around with a bunch of stuff, go to start the thing up again, but this time the starter stays engaged again, but doesn't disengage. So now the engine's farting and popping, and I'm trying, and the starter's running. Luckily, I had the seat pan off. I just disconnected the battery because the switch was in the run position. So it wasn't like it stayed in the start position. It was in the run position because it released the little spring. Oh my God. You don't understand. I was ready to burn this thing. I ended up having to take the blower cover off because the gear was jammed, or not jammed, but forced out onto the flywheel. I took a little punch and a hammer and I banged the gear back into the starter, disengaging it from the flywheel. I went inside, sat down, cooled off, came back outside, checked all my wiring, checked everything, took my little multimeter, went all over the place, and everything checked out except for the magneto wire. In any position in the ignition switch, so stop, run, start, I was getting a variable reading off my coil wire, off the magneto wire. So this thing was sporadically grounding out through the switch. Now, you ask me, why is the magneto wire disconnected? This wire here, disregard. That's just a power takeoff wire. That's a switched 12-volt wire that I have for something coming up for the tractor, so that has nothing to do with it. That doesn't have anything to do with the ignition switch. So this wire is my magneto wire. So with that, I said to myself, you know what? We're going to swing for the fences. So I had that wire disconnected, connected the battery, hit the fuel pump, hit the start switch just to see if it would start, and bang, this thing came to life. And it ran awesome. I was like, it throttled up, it throttled down. It ran like the day I rode it around the neighborhood for the first time. It was just amazing. The engine just ran and sounds so good. The valve train is nice and quiet. The exhaust is loud as hell. And I was just like, sweet. So you're like, Vin, what the hell? Why aren't we seeing this thing running? Well, let me show you why. And this is the reason. You would think ordering a part or trying to get a part would be easy. It's never easy. I needed to order a 5-blade ignition switch for a magneto, not a battery ignition. The total part number for a magneto ignition is 103991. And that is the part I ordered. What they sent me was this one, part number 103990, which is for an ignition, a battery ignition right there. That's what the I stands for. That should be an M, and there should be a grounding lug. So they sent me the wrong switch. Now the seller is cool. They said they have the correct switch, 103991, in stock, and they are sending it to me. Wonderful. So with that, I was hoping to have the 1056 up and running for you, but the gremlins of the 1056 continues. Should have that switch in a few days, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday of this week. So as long as the weather holds out, I'll be able to put it in and get it started up again. Just want to thank everybody that's been following this build. I'm sure it's been more painful for you than it has been for me. But I really appreciate all of the support and everyone that's put a thumbs up on my videos. I really do appreciate that also. If you could please do that again, that'd be much appreciated. If you like these kinds of videos where there's little small engines watching me waste my money and screw around with tractors and problems, then please subscribe. Also, just want to let you know, coming up over the course of the next few months or so, I will have some different content, tractor related. I guess you call them pseudo documentaries about certain tractors. One of my friends was gracious enough to let me videotape. Videotape? Did I just say videotape? Holy cow, is that old? Does anybody videotape anymore? I don't know where the hell that came from. That's really bad. Well, anyways, video some of his tractors, where we talk, you know, about the tractor, where he got them, what's been done to him. And I also have a video of a photo shoot that one of my brother's tractors went through for Lawn Garden Tractor Magazine. So these are things that are coming up. So if you might find that interesting, please subscribe. And I thank you again for all your support. You guys have a great day, and we'll talk shortly.